Okay, on this particular recording, I am going to do the second graph B with the TI-84 calculator. Now, if you are at home and you do not have a TI-84 calculator, I do have websites provided for you that can do the same mathematical operations. But if you are in school, you need to know how to do the operations on a TI-84 calculator. Letting my board turn on. All right, if you are in school with me or at home and you have a TI-84 calculator, or maybe you're at a website because you're at home and you do not have access to an TI-84 calculator, please hit the on button and go to your y equals and type in the equation that you see. So y equals, and we're going to type in the equation negative. Hey guys, make sure you use a negative button and not a minus button in the appropriate spots. Like when it's supposed to be minus, use a negative when it's supposed to be negative. So this is negative x to the third. If you guys see anything wrong as I'm typing this in, please let me know. Plus 4x squared minus x minus 4. Now, what I would encourage you to do is graph it by hitting graph, and you will not see the whole shape. I just lied to you. Apparently we do see the whole shape. If you did not see the whole shape, you can always edit your window. See these y mins and y maxes here? You could always make it like negative 50 to positive 50, or you could even make it like negative 20 to positive. So if like you're like the swoops, you didn't see all the swoops, you could always change your window there. A lot of kids are like, Miss Angeli, I'm just going to select zoom and zoom out. But just notice like when you zoom out, look how ugly that turns into. Like it gets very narrow. It's not pretty. So I'm just going to do, in fact, I'll show you how you can change your window because maybe you've never done that before. I'm going to go from, maybe I'll go from negative 10 on my x-axis to positive 10 on my x-axis. Knowing how to work your calculator is very important. I would actually say a lot of the SATs could be solved using your calculator if you know what you were doing. I'll just keep negative 10 to positive 10 for my y's because that looked nice. All right, so there's a graph. Does everybody's graph look like that before I move on? Make sure that, yeah, I see yeses and I see no's. We're on graph B. Graph B. Okay, that's right away. All right, I'm just redoing my recording because I had a horrible recording. It was very old when I was like yelling at the computer. Hopefully the headset's working. Let's see. Okay, now let's do you guys remember how to get this table activated on a calculator? Yep, and even if you have that cheap little one we have on the school, that one on your iPad will at least do this part. You know, you know that on your iPad. Now, your calculator should be set up. I think my calculator is just reformatted. I need to change my independent to ask. You guys should be able just to type stuff in on yours. I fixed all of yours before. So I'm going to start at positive 5 because that's the one I have on my screen. And then I'll move to 4. Oh, that's not working at all. There we go. 2. And what that's doing is it's just plugging those numbers in infinitely fast. You guys can plug them in by hand. I mean, like I wouldn't. You could, I guess, is what I'm trying to emphasize there. You could plug them in by hand, but that would be like super annoying, right? Plugging those in by hand. Could you imagine all the parentheses and everything? Somebody, can you guys make sure? Can I just have a verification? Then on graph B, you guys have the same numbers I do? Good? Yep. You'll just have to write those down and then go back up and type over top of them again. So yours is not scrolling. Mine's a newer one that I downloaded on the calculator, so mine just has more spaces than yours. So write down, so on 5, you got negative 34. So just go up to 5 and type. Yeah, yep. All right, can you guys help me? Whoa. Miss Angela has not taught at this board in a while. Okay, so this was negative 34. Okay. What's that, negative 4? That's okay. What about negative 2? Oh wait, positive 62. Okay. All right, I wish there was a way for me to keep that on the top of the board. There's probably a way if I was smart, but maybe I could do like always on top here. Teacher view, I wonder what teacher view is. I'm not gonna do that because I don't wanna mess anything up. All right, thank you for getting all those numbers on there. They all look really good. Good job, guys. Okay, now, you don't have to fit all those points on there. I'm not gonna like fit 226 on there, it's too big. I'm not gonna fit 128 on there, it's too big. You know what I'll do? I'll count by fives and we'll see what we can fit. That's fine. So skip by fives, at least this one. I'm gonna skip by fives on my my y-axis is what I was trying to spit out of my mouth. All right. So I'm just gonna start at this one. So over 5 and down. So I'm counting by fives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So there's my first point, like negative 34-ish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. There's my positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2. I would say this is sometimes the hardest part for kids. 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So there. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 50. So I cannot get, I did not end up graphing those ones because they were just too big. Now, something you guys should know, it does have this beautiful like curvy shape to it, right? And it will look like what I have on my calculator when I hit graph. So it's gonna look like that when I graph it, okay? There, that looks pretty good. Not perfect, but it's good. It's hard sometimes to plot those points, so take your time. If you want to skip by twos, you can skip by twos. If you guys didn't like that, I skip by fives. As long as you get that pretty shape on there, that's what I'm looking for. Now, there's something called end behavior on a graph. Did I go too fast? Do I need to pause? Are you still graphing? Okay. There's something on a graph called end behavior. End behavior is how does the left arrow point? How does the right arrow point? So if you guys look, how does that left arrow head point over here? Up. How does the right arrow head point? Down. Yeah. So the end behavior is what we call up down. On a test, it will say up down like that. It's saying on the left, it's pointing up. On the right, it's pointing down. You will learn in the 5.1 notes, like the actual notes, not just the activity, you'll learn that if you have your leading term, and I'm going to say a lot of big girl words in this chapter, that's why chapter 5 is very difficult, a lot of vocabulary. Your leading term, if your leading term is negative and the exponent is odd, you will learn that that was always an up down. Anytime the front is negative and the exponent is odd of your leading term, you'll learn more about that. Okay, now, how many zeros does it have? A zero is how many times it crosses the x-axis. How many zeros does it have? 2. It actually has 3. So 3. This one has 3, look at this word. This one has 3 real zeros. I feel like, does that can have 3 fake zeros? What do you mean 3 real zeros? As we progress in chapter 5, sometimes zeros are imaginary, meaning they don't actually cross the x-axis, but they have imaginary answers. So how do you know how many? What's that? Oh yeah, those imaginaries are coming back. Here's the easiest way to know how many zeros something has. It's that highest exponent right there. So the highest exponent is 3. So we'll have 3 zeros. And that will happen if it has an exponent of 800. We'll have 800 zeros. We won't get there. We'll get to exponents of like 5 or 6 though. So what are the zeros? We actually on this one, let's see. Are they apparent? No. Now you might say, what do you mean? Are they apparent? Let me try to grab the highlighter here. Are any of these numbers 0? No, that means they're not like obvious zeros. Now on some of the problems that you go through today, there will be a couple of obvious zeros, but these ones are not obvious. Now, what I'm going to do is let's change to maybe just like a blue highlighter. It's going to be somewhere here, and somewhere here. Our calculator will help us get those. And let's hope that the calculator I downloaded will do this. This is very, we have to be super, 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 super careful with our calculator. I want you guys, please follow every single step that I do, okay? Let's find the zeros. First thing, you have your calculators, right? Oh, okay, I'll chase it over here. Ready? Hit second. And then you see up here this word calc, that stands for calculate. That's like you want your calculator to do a mathematical operation. So you hit second and then you hit calculate. You should see that 0 is an option. It should be option 2. So everybody just select number 2 by either going down and hitting enter or just selecting the number 2. Notice that your calculator has a question for you. It says left bound question mark. Yeah. May I see? Oh, somebody turned your plots on. You don't want your plots on. That's not your fault. There you go. Try. Ooh. Let's fix your window. Somebody has your window all funky too. So we'll just zoom 6 takes you back to a 10 by 10 by 10 by 10. There we go. You're good now. So do second calc. If your window ever looks super weird, hit zoom 6 and that'll take it to 10, 10, 10, and 10. And then you can adjust as needed. All right. So your calculator is like left bound question mark. Does everybody see this cursor that's blinking? Put it to the left of your first 0. I just said a lot of stuff. I'm going to show you on here what I mean. When I say put it to the left of your first 0, that's anywhere here. See, this here is the 0 where I have that highlighter. So anything over here is to the left of that. So I'm going to grab my calculator and I'm going to go over to the left of my 0. So there it is. As long as you are to the left of your 0 is right here where my mouse is. My cursor is to the left of that. Hit enter. Now it wants you to go to the right of your 0. So hit right until you're to the right of your 0. Now, some students have asked me, Ms. Landelli, is the left always above it and the right is always below it? Nope. The left is to the left of it, whether that means up or down. The right is to the right of it, whether that means up or down. So when I hit enter, I love this calculator I downloaded. You guys see these dotted lines mine did? Yours doesn't do that. That's saying they're going to find the 0 between these 2 dotted lines. That's what mine does. That's what yours is doing too. You just don't see the dotted line. That asks you to take a guess. Don't take a guess. Just hit enter. It'll do it for you. Okay, I'm going to come and help. Let me pause this recording because I just want to make sure everybody knows how to work it. There it is. Pause recording. Pause recording. All right, so we were able to find one of the zeros, and the first 0 was -0.814 when you round, comma 0. Let's find another 0. So let's go back to our calculator. Let's do second trace, and we're going to select 0 again. So did I do it? I feel like I didn't do it. 0. Yeah, you're going to hit second to calculate, and then you'll hit number 2. Now this right here where I'm putting my mouse, that's my other 0, right where that arrowhead is. So it's asking me to be on the left-hand side of that. So that's good. So there I am with my mouse, and I am currently to the left of it. So hit enter, cross over, go to the right of it, hit enter twice, and your other 0 is 1.47, comma 0. 1.47, comma 0. What's that? Okay, I will come take a look. Let me pause my recording. It's time to get our third 0. So we'll hit second, calculate, select 0. Now my third 0 is right here where my mouse is. Does everybody see where my mouse is? That's a 0. That's where it crosses the x-axis. So I need to put my cursor exactly like to the left of it. So there I'm pretty much on it, right? So I'm just going to go to the left of it a couple of clicks, cross over it. Now that I crossed over, I'm going to hit twice, and I get 3.34. So my last 0 is 3.34, comma 0. Those are my points. If you just wrote X equals this, this, and this, I would be happy with that. You don't have to write them as ordered pairs if you don't want to. Okay, so if you just want to write X equals that, that's fine. Now, let me teach you a little bit about turning points. By the way, this first one takes forever, and then like the second one will take a little bit long, and then you'll like, oh, I know, and you'll get used to it. It's just like when you play Mario Brothers and you get better at like jumping over the clouds and stuff like that. Okay, you get better each time. It's just not as much fun. What is the possible amount of turning points? Okay, let me teach you about this. Remember how it was x? It was negative x to the third power. You will learn in the notes in 5.1 that the possible amount of turning points is that exponent take away 1. So it could turn, what's 3 minus 1? It could turn 2 times. Now look at your graph. Does it turn 2 times? Yeah, it does. There's a turn that happens right here, and there's a turn that happens right there. Those are turns. So does this, they might say, does it always turn? Not necessarily. We'll talk about that. I think there's one in the notes when you watch them tonight that talks about sometimes it won't turn. You'll see it takes like a little dip, but it doesn't actually turn. All right, now what are the turning points? We got to use our calculator. There is a minimum and a maximum. Look at this graph, just like you read a book. Please read that graph from the left to the right. What happens first? Does a minimum happen first or a maximum happen first? The minimum happens first. That's right here. I'll draw, it's this one here. That's the minimum. So I'll write minimum first. We'll find that one first. It's a point, and the maximum happens next. The maximum is that other green circle. Okay, sometimes the max happens first, depending, just read your graph left to right. All right, let's go back to our calculator. Now, unless you know calculus, you have no idea how to find mins and maxes, okay? And you guys don't know calc. So that's okay, because we have a handy dandy. You're still gonna do second and calc. So second and calc on your calculator. But remember I told you, let's find the minimum first. So select number 3. Now, if I put, everybody visualize where the minimum is. I'm gonna put my mouse on the minimum. Let's see if you guys found it. That's the minimum. Did everybody get the minimum there? Good. I need you to move the cursor so it's to the left of that. So moving. There. You guys see my cursor? Can you see that it's kind of small? It is to the left of the dip. It is to the left of the dip. Hit enter. Now cross over the dip and go to the right of it. Right there. Does everybody see I crossed over? So I went down the dip and I'm on my way back up. Hit enter twice. You don't need to take a guess. Your calculator can do it. 0.131, negative 4.06. I'll pause the recording and make sure everybody can get that. Okay, so we're going to do the same steps for max. So we'll do second, calc, max is number 4. So I'm just going to kind of get closer to the max. Make sure you stay on the left of it, like don't cross over the max. Hit enter once you're sure you're close enough, but not too far. Cross over, go to the right. I love the dotted lines that this one does. You don't need to take it. Oh, you don't need to take a guess. Just hit enter. Once you hit right, you can take a guess, but it's a waste of clicking. So I get 2.54. Be careful on your rounding. I did notice rounding is a struggle for people. 2.54 and 2.88. You guys did really well with the minimum. Does anybody need help finding the max? Okay, cool beans. Ready for the hardest part of the whole thing? So the calculator, the keystrokes are hard to learn, but like not hard once you get this part. This is the conceptual part that's very difficult. This whole increasing and decreasing thing. So I'm going to do this. Obviously everybody learns differently. Okay, but I'm going to do this the way that I think everybody will see it the best. Okay. So I'm going to grab an entirely different color, maybe just this little pink here. I want you to look at your x-axis. So I want you to look along your x-axis. Do you guys agree that this side of your x-axis, the left-hand side of your x-axis, goes forever to the left? I mean, it never actually stops. We make it stop at -10, but really I can make it go to -infinity. Okay, so over here is negative infinity. And then your graph does stuff in this area, and then it hits this special spot right here. It hits this special spot right here. In other words, it hits your minimum, and your minimum happens at the x value of 0.131. So something funky happens at 0.131 because it hits your minimum. And then something funky happens when it hits your maximum. What was your x value there? Wasn't it like 2 point something? 2.54? And then your x-axis goes to positive infinity. What's happening? Let me grab gray. From negative infinity, I thought I grabbed gray, to 1.31. Look at the original purple line. Read it like a book. What is this doing? Read it. Don't look at your arrowhead. That can be misleading. What is your graph doing here? That is correct. I know the arrowhead points up. That's like if you were reading right to left. You shouldn't read right to left. You want to read. So if I put my pen on this line, this is decreasing until it gets here. Then what does it do? And then what does it do? Good. Let's do that again. Tell me what's happening. Good. So I hear decreasing, increasing, decreasing. You just did, and now all we have to do is like put the appropriate intervals on there. You got those right. Here's how I do that. So my first interval is this one. I can't let's see. There's not a video of me. This is my first interval. What is happening in between those two numbers? It is, what did we say? That's decreasing. So I'm going to take this and put it under decreasing. And take that and put it under decreasing. So from negative infinity until it reaches 1.31, it was decreasing. This is an interval. You use x values. I've had kids try to use y values here. You're describing what the graph does left to right. Then it increased. Well, it increased from here to here. In between these two numbers, it increased. So that would be 0.131 is where it started its increase. And then 2.54 is where it ended its increase. Because what did it do? Once it reached 2.54, it started decreasing again. And it decreases forever. So 2.54 to positive infinity. So there's the decrease, increase, decrease. That is the conceptually hardest part of today's lesson, I think. But if you can go to your graph and either write DID for decreasing, increasing, decreasing, or maybe in some of them it will be IDI because increasing, decreasing, increasing. Just remember these numbers down here, you need to use X values, not Y values, because you're talking about what's happening along your X axis. Yep. That's an excellent question because you're saying, okay, so when we say what's the increasing and decreasing, we're saying what X interval are your Y values going down? Now we don't care about what your X's are doing. I'm saying what X intervals are your Y's going down. So you always actually go from lowest to highest for your X's, and then you just like place it in the appropriate spot depending on what it's doing. Excellent question. All right, so you got 3 to try on your own. Okay, I think we did it all. Cool beans. And when I grade these, I grade different parts of each problem. Like in number 1, the first graph, maybe let's see, where's the first graph? And the first one, maybe I grade whatever this answer is, and maybe I grade the zeros, and maybe I grade the decreasing. And then the next page, maybe I'll grade something else. Okay, so it ends up being, it's a 23-point assignment, but then I proportion it back down to 10 points. All right, I think that's it.